G'day guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Acer Aspire E15 E5 523G 95NV. This laptop sports an AMD A9 9410 CPU with a Radeon R5 iGPU, 8GB of DDR4 RAM, a 128GB M.2 SSD, a 2TB mechanical SATA hard drive, and a 15-inch 1366 by 768 display. Lifting the lid, we can see it does have a full-size keyboard with a built-in numpad, which is very handy. As for ports, we have a Kensington lock slot, a USB Type-C, an Ethernet port, which does expand, a VGA port, full-size HDMI, and two USB 3.1 ports. On the right-hand side, we have our headphone microphone combo port, a USB 2.0 port, a DVD burner, and our power input jack. There is nothing on the front or the back. There are 3 screws that need to be removed before we can access the RAM and hard drive. The panel just does lift off. We can see there is a single DDR4 SODIMM slot, our M.2 SSD, and our SATA hard drive. Above the M.2 slot, you might be able to see the yellow Captain tape. That is the keyboard ribbon. To the left of that is the trackpad ribbon. There is a micro switch down there, and the back panel does have a little piece of rubber that will press it. But I haven't seen anything in this BIOS specifically that lets me know it's been opened. This may be an optional extra for different BIOS versions. To fully access the motherboard inside and also the heatsink, you will need to undo all the screws on the back of the case, including the optical drive screw. The optical drive will then slide out nice and easily. You'll also need to remove the SATA hard drive, as it will come out with the case. And obviously the 3 screws on the back panel to get access to the SATA hard drive. Once all the screws have been removed, as well as the hard drive, it does just unclip. I found just using my fingernail, did the job perfectly. We are running Windows 10 LTSC on this laptop, and as you can see, it is in fact a dual-core CPU. Starting off with some YouTube playback, this is a 4K video, high bitrate. And as you can see, it is struggling to play it. So high bitrate 4K, not really playable. Now we are down to 1080. And it does 1080 high bitrate almost perfectly. There are a few drop frames every so often, but nothing noticeable. We'll try change it up to 2K. And it is struggling to play 1440p as well. So 1080p high bitrate is the limit on YouTube. Next up, we'll be trying local 4K media playback. This is Big Buck Bunny H.264 in full 4K. It is very smooth. We have only lost 14 frames and it stopped losing them since then. When skipping, we drop another 10 or 13, 20 frames. Just loading, but then once it's actually playing, it's perfectly smooth. And full screen, perfectly smooth. So offline 4K media playback, definitely perfectly playable. Next up, we'll try some gaming. It's a very lightweight game, it runs on most things, but I thought we'll try it on here anyway. Starting off with some Jump King. As you can see, Jump King perfectly playable. Next up, Turok Remastered. This is another fairly easy to run game. It runs on pretty old Celerons, so I'm not expecting any issues with this. Lastly, we do have a fairly more recent game, Only Up. I have changed everything to the lowest in the settings, and resolution scale down to 17%. Doesn't seem to make much of a difference, but that's what I have it as. It did take about 20 seconds to actually load up into the game.
Oh, don't look up. We need to get to the top. I'm sure we'll make it. I wonder what awaits us there. The unknown is frightening.
It is still a little bit choppy, so running it at maybe 15 to 20 frames a second.
The journey of 10,000 steps begins with the first step.
Also, I'm not sure if you can hear it, but the CPU fan is ramped all the way up.
I remember as a child, my parents helped me to walk along the fence. I felt their support. If I fall, my parents will catch me. But now I'm alone and no one will catch me. Does it mean to be an adult? Sometimes it's hard to choose the right path, but don't be afraid. You can always repeat. You learn from our mistakes. It's really hard to make a choice when you don't know where it will lead.
I did press jump a little bit too late there and missed the jump. So as mentioned, it is very choppy. Definitely playable though if you had to play it. If this came out 10, 20 years ago when I was a lot younger, I wouldn't have minded at this frame rate. And as mentioned, the CPU fan is running at 100%. It is quite loud, and the laptop is getting a little bit warm. So this is probably pushing it to its limit. Overall, I'd say this is a pretty good laptop if you can get it fairly cheap. It does 1080p high bitrate YouTube perfectly fine. It does struggle with 1440 and 4K. The screen is a little bit of a letdown in this. It is only 1366 by 768, and at 15 inch it is definitely noticeable. The full-size SATA slot is a nice addition, so you can have plenty of storage in this. For day-to-day tasks, it's definitely a usable laptop. For light to medium gaming, it's fine if everything's sort of set to minimum. Don't expect too much from it, and it shouldn't disappoint. These go for around $100 to $150 in Australia on the used market, so that's not too bad. They're a lot more on eBay, but that's a lot of sellers are a little bit delusional about that. But on Facebook Marketplace and Gumtree, things like that, they do go for a reasonable price. I think that'll do it for today. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.